Today we're going to be installing a metal rack on the back of my Tacoma. But before, I'm Ryan and I've been hacking things my whole life. But before we get started, I need a Tacoma. Well, this rack is something that I'm really interested in because it's something that you can plasma cut on my plasma CNC. You can design it in Fusion and then cut it all out. So I'm really interested to see it assemble and how it functions. And eventually, if you follow this particular series of overlanding, I'm going to be installing a roof nest tent, and I'm going to be adding a lot of outrigger stuff to go on some adventures. So let's get started installing this cool rack for the back of the Taco. Okay, so I got all the parts together. I can't believe the quality of what I received. It was unbelievable. I love the fact that these got these T-slots in and I can add tons of accessories. Like I said, I plan on plasma cutting a bunch of different parts that go on the outside. So instead of assembling it flat like the instructions said, it was so fumbly, I decided to assemble this on the truck. That has the negative drawback of you can literally scratch the crap out of your vehicle if one of these was to drop. So after doing it, I would have stuck with the instructions and assembled this on the ground. But I really only had myself, and I wasn't sure how I was going to put this on the track of the tonneau cover. So I decided that I was going to take the chance and I was going to install this on top of the truck. So I laid out all the parts. I have the 3 risers, and then I have the beams, and then I have the armor that's on the side. I have to tell you that the quality of this and how lightweight it was unbelievable. One of the things that I would probably add to it is I would probably add some type of protector so it doesn't scratch the actual tracking of the cover. That is also aluminum. This was kind of finicky to position the actual screw inside of the Allen screw, and I have a suggestion to use a 90-degree elbow for this. I wish in a future design there was more of a quick mount that you could remove the entire rack with just maybe an Allen key or something on the side. So I went ahead and at this point I'm just sort of exploring how I'm going to do this, and I'm putting all of the screws and lining them up. These are obviously high-end stainless steel screws so that they don't rust. But I'm really blown away with the organization of this kit and everything else. At this point it's kind of going nice. It was a beautiful day out and I was just sliding each individual part in. I would put in the actual square nut that slides into the track system, and then I would slide it back and forth. You just have to be really sort of keep your screws really loose. But this worked really well for me, except I don't think I would have risked scratching the side of my truck anymore. This is where I would say to put some type of membrane or something in between the riser and the actual track so it doesn't scratch. But at this point, I think I was maybe around 30 minutes into the build. It was just going really super fast. So I wanted to dry fit or soft fit some of the parts. So I was putting the armor, which I just was fascinated with. Even though that this kit was over $1,000, you know, it really gave me the functionality of adding my own parts to the side, the multiple hole configurations, and what it came with was kind of nice. Some of the other ones that I looked at didn't come with the side armor, and they actually didn't even come with the beams. So for the price of this, I really got a lot of what I wanted, and I'm going to go ahead and add things to it. I'm going to do a video in the future, and I'm going to talk about why I decided not to do a truck camper. So I was measuring each side and positioning it from the back end of my tonneau cover. So far, this is exactly the system I wanted. I wanted a waterproof cover, and I wanted to be able to put my roof nest tent on top of this. So everything was working out. So I was pretty stoked at this point in the project because everything was going as planned. Now, in order to put the beams in, I had to go ahead and do Loctite. So I'm going to show you that in a second. I used my clutch on my drill here, and I just simply attached it and went from the inside, and I tightened everything down. Now, these I was doing a little bit tighter because I knew that the holes was perfectly lined up, but I waited to tighten down the Allen screws that went into the tracks at the very last because I've never done this. I would do this differently is if I had already, now that I've already known it, but I don't. I did not scratch my truck, which was great, but this is the one improvement I would make in this design is to come up with some quick mount system that could literally be a flange piece of metal that had an Allen screw. But keep in mind that if you're driving down through the Appalachian Mountains with a roof nest tent, you don't want this thing to fall off. So I'm kind of impressed that I have these Mitch connection points all throughout. But this was probably the most finicky thing to get in there, and I would say that they included a little Allen key, but you're only really going to learn is if you do this by yourself. So here I have to put the Loctite on. I didn't realize that Loctite took 30 minutes to cure. The instructions. Oh, here's my stainless steel. The stainless steel does not hold to my magnet. Here is some illustrations of mine, but I was assembling all the screws it took for the 3 cross beams, and I was just putting the Loctite on, and then I let that cure for 30 minutes. And then I slid in from what I don't call this little tiny little black piece that I had earlier in the video, and then I'm just going ahead and soft screwing in, just very loosely putting in one of the bolts to hold that side. I usually work alone, so I have to hold up the left side with my right hand, and then I just got that in. But there wasn't anything weird about the metal. The metal was really, really solid. So it was really coming together. Just I was waiting for the Loctite in. And once I got the Loctite done, I started just putting the beams in. At this point, it started to go pretty smoothly, and I was pretty stoked. I did get the high lift kit. The high lift kit gives me the ability to raise my roof nest tent over the top of my cab. A lot of people don't realize this, but your cab is actually curved. So there's actually a high point and a low point. So when you measure it, make sure that you measure the high point of your cab. And putting these beams in was good. There's lots of bolts. I'm not sure if the other parts of the build required the Loctite. But I probably would put it anywhere you can. Just remember, it takes 30 minutes minimally to cure. And then also wear gloves and actually wear glasses too, because that stuff is like super glue. So I was just measuring everything, double checking that everything worked out well and everything was there. And I was just pretty happy. This is something that I've wanted for a long time, and I get to add so many cool things because there's so much mounting there. And I love the American-made company that put this together. So it's pretty cool. I got to clean the bed of my truck, but oh well, I plan on hiding a lot of it. But that's pretty much the source. So now that I got all of these on, I started to tighten them down with my Allen screw. I could use an automatic drill, but I didn't want to strip any of the screws. And also it was beautiful outside, so I decided just to kind of work out there, and that was just really fun. But I went ahead and tightened down the risers. Now I'm using the tool that was included. I since have now done a 90-degree angle drill attachment. Here you can see a little bit of a scratch that happened on the tonneau cover track, so be careful with that. Maybe put masking tape if you're really anal, but I plan on doing overlanding, off-roading stuff. It's going to get scratched anyways, but some of you guys may not want to do that. So when I got done, man, it was rock solid. I was really happy. The only thing that I regretted, I wish I would have put the cross beams 1 notch higher. But what an awesome project. What a great project, and I can't wait to add accessories that I make on my plasma cutter to it. Peace and love, guys. Whatever you do, make something that connects someone. Bye for now.